Alright, we're back on sports. And I just want to say before I get started on, talking about Spartan race and all that stuff, I want to give a huge shout out to the people, to the hypocrites that watched the ESPs this year. That's right. For those who don't remember, last year, alright, when it came to the ESPs, so many people were upset because the stunt they pulled with Bruce Jenner, and I'll never watch the ESPs again, and blah, blah, blah. You know how that went last year. This year, the same people who said they wouldn't watch it last year were watching saying, oh my God, this is so heartfelt. This is so deep. Everyone, please, come on, please, watch the ESPYs this year. Same people. Congratulations, fucking hypocrites. Anyways, let's move on to Spartan race, shall we? Now, as you know, on Saturday, had Spartan race over at Palmerton, which is Blue Mountain, pretty much the Poconos, right? Okay, so let me say this now. This course was soul crushing. No. That's too kind. This was, it's too kind to even say it was punishing. All right? This was body snatching. That's what it was. That's exactly what it was. This course was so tough. And I put it like this, compared to the beast that I did in Jersey, the beast in Jersey, which was longer, was a cakewalk compared to this one. All right? I'm saying that now. This was extremely tough. And you have to also understand that you're out in the heat. All right? It's not like when I was in Jersey when it was springtime and it was nice and it was breezy, it was cool, and when you walked through the water it was cold, so it cooled you down. No. This is absolutely hot. Just heat everywhere. There's no clouds. There's barely any shade. And let me tell you something, okay? First off, getting to Palmerton, all right, was tough. I say that due to the fact that there's nothing out there. There's nothing out there. I was driving past mills and auto places. Like, look, I saw a standalone house have its own gas pump. Not a gas station. A standalone house with its own gas pump. You know I'm in the wrong neighborhood, right? You know that, right? Okay. There's no stores around. There's not a Dunkin' Donuts. There's not like if you didn't stop at a rest stop 20 miles back, you were screwed. Okay? And for this to be a ski lodge, I didn't see any lodging. I didn't see much, as opposed to when I was in Jersey, when I did the Beast in Jersey. So, because there was tons of lodging there. Saw no lodging, okay? However, like I said, getting there wasn't hard, but you were going in back roads, and you're just like, yo, I don't want to be out here at night. You don't want to be trust me, you don't want to be out there at night, okay? But, getting to the actual race, I'll say, all right? So, this actual race, Spartan, you have a problem. You have a problem. I'm going to say this now. Because it seems like a lot of people, they were complaining about this, and I guess I should complain too about it, because it seems like if people's voices aren't heard about this issue, they won't change the issue. You have to understand, Spartan, all right, that it is 90 plus degrees out there. People are literally passing out, falling out, getting dizzy, they're not feeling well, people are calling for medic time and time again, and this is not even the obstacles, people. This is not the obstacles. This is just walking. Okay? Because it's that hot out. There's no clouds in sight. There's nothing. People, every maybe 20, 30 yards, were trying to find a little bit of shade, groups of people, and they were huddling to the shade. That's right. So there's a problem you have with heat, especially when you're telling people that they can't, once they get to the water stations, that they can't fill up their hydration packs. What the hell's wrong with you? And then we're finding out reports that it was possible that you're going to have a shortage of water. I don't believe that at all. I don't. Because there was one obstacle where you had a water pump, all right, spraying everyone. It was a huge water pump. It's like a cannon, all right, and it's constantly going. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm not trying to hear that you were, running out of water. So people, understand. This was tough. The first mile in, because first they try to hype you up, get you hyped. To go up that top of the mountain, because you got to go all the way up the top of the mountain. First mile in, people were dead. They were done. First mile in. There was no break in between, so it was tough. So all these people who tried to run it, not going to happen, all right? Even the elites was like, son of a bitch. You know what I mean? Like, it was an extremely tough race. Like I said, it was so crushing. It was. If you didn't have your wits about yourself, if you didn't stay mentally strong, you would have quit a long time ago. Like, it was easily, one of those things to quit. There was people where we thought we got to the top of the mountain, these other people. And we weren't. We thought it was. The way the hill was, you had to get to the rope and climb up the hill because the way they had it set up, and then it was over. So you thought, since you can't see over the edge until you got up there, that'd be the top of the mountain. You got over the top of the edge, and you realized there's a lot of mountain left to go. Where one guy got, he climbed up the rope, got up there, and was like, what the fuck? I thought this was the top of the fucking mountain. What the fuck? This is bullshit. And like his friend is trying to calm him down, like, yo, calm down. You're just going to burn up your energy. We out here in the heat. He was like, I don't give a fuck. This is bullshit. We should be at the top of the mountain. Like, he was just freaking out. The sun, it killed him. It killed his spirit. It killed him. Did he keep going? Yeah. After people calmed him down, yeah. There was so much arguing, I should say, at water stations because they were saying, you get one cup. They was like, you can refill. Some stations said you can refill as much as you want. Other stations was like, oh, you can only have 2 cups of water. That's it. You have to understand, people are burning through their hydration packs. They're burning through their Gatorade fuel gels and all that type of stuff. They don't have anything left. They don't. There's also other people, the kindness of Spartans, who do have a little bit of water in their pack, and they're giving it to other people who are dehydrated and who are falling out, okay, to make sure that they're okay. Everyone had to lean on each other in this race. I don't think Spartan was prepared for this. And I think that's another problem that we're going to have because it needs to be addressed. This was the worst part of Spartan race on Saturday. The heat absolutely killed people, and Spartan didn't compensate for the heat. And that's a problem. Like I said, you have too many people calling for medics. Too many people. I saw one injury on the course. Only one. And you should know by now, there's a sign that tells you, before you go on the course, if you don't think you're physically able to do this course, go around it. Okay? There's no penalty. The only time you get a penalty is when you attempt the course and you fail it. Then you got to do 30 burpees. But if you're physically not able to do the course, go around it. No harm, no foul. You get what I'm saying? Okay. So, don't be a hero. Be smart about this. This girl, let me tell you, this girl has her arm wrapped up. Left arm wrapped up. All right? Because apparently she has a problem with her arm. Tries to do a wall jump. Jumps up, grabs the wall, tries to get up. Arm gives out. Hits her head on the wall, falls backwards, hits her head, sits there and cries. Right? Volunteer walks over and says, you alright? What the hell you mean she alright? Go get a medic. What's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. There's so many things that was wrong in this Spartan race. There was one time where I and 2 other Spartans from 4-0 had to help this man who he pretty much had passed out. We had to help him. We had to pick him up and help him off the course and wait for a medic. Guy was afraid to walk. This is actually in the woods this time, so you actually have some shade. But the heat had already gotten to him after a while. So he was done. So us 3 helped carry him, you know what I mean? And trust me, when you carry somebody off course and you're in the woods, it's not like saying, okay, there's an obstacle, let's just walk over to the right or walk over to the left. No, you're in the woods, which means you have to find a way to get off course. You have to understand that, all right? Because you're following a certain path. Other than that, you go off the path, you're pretty much on your own. So 2 other guys, they came along and was like, oh, do you guys need any more help? And we was like, well, we have him handled, you know what I mean? He's fine. And they were like, all right, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go get a call for a medic and tell them exactly where you're at. So, we had to sit there, with the X's up so they knew. It was a very tough race, I'll say that. This medal, this year, well, I should say this year, this race, this weekend, definitely earned. Anybody who got through it, definitely earned. There was too much passing out. The heat killed a lot of people. The obstacles weren't that hard. They had some new obstacles, which were fine. But the obstacles that you did have I've done before, it felt like it was double the obstacle. For example, the barbed wire crawl, okay? This weekend's barbed wire crawl in Palmerton was twice as long as the one in New Jersey, okay? So by the time you were finished, and mind you, that was around mile 3. So by the time that you were finished, the next thing you had to do as soon as you get the barbed wire crawl, you had to go up the cargo net, which is nothing. Cargo net's nothing. You just climb up, go down. But here's the thing. After that, gotta go all the way back hill again. Gotta go climb up the mountain again. By the time you got past, you know what I mean, the cargo, wasn't that the cargo net? Because let's say cargo net's easy. You finished doing the barbed wire, you were burned. You were burned. All right? Even mile 1 people were burned because you got all the way up the mountain and you had to do the spear throw. And let me tell you something, okay? Because I've seen it. There's a difference between the way Spartans act online as opposed to the way Spartans act in race. And Spartans, the way they act in the race, very kind, very nice, very, you know what I mean? That's fine. Online is where they act like assholes, and I'll say that. The things I saw before and after the race really pissed me off, because when the course was revealed on how it would be, we had Spartans sitting and saying online, well, they have the spear throw after the first mile. This will separate all of us from the normal people. Really? Really? You do realize that we're all in this together, right? And just because if you miss a spear throw, that doesn't all of a sudden make your worth lower. It doesn't. You miss a spear throw, so fucking what? It's that simple. It doesn't separate you from anything. Stop acting like an elitist douchebag. All right? That's number one. Number two, after the race is over, I'm seeing people complain online about how others skip obstacles. Again, people, do I need to explain this? How if you're not physically fit to do this, you skip the obstacle, no harm, no foul, no judgments. Okay? If people are hurt during the race, but they still want to finish because you still get credit for finishing because you're sucking it up and you're still dealing with it. And if you skip an obstacle because you're in such pain, or like I said, you have to be smart about it. If you have a messed up arm and you can't do a specific obstacle, you don't do that obstacle. Why? Because you have other obstacles you can do in the future. You know what I mean? That's going to come along in this course. So you save yourself. You reserve that tank. You get what I'm saying? You have to be smart about things. For people to complain, Spartans, well, if you skip an obstacle, you're just cheating yourself and you're cheating everyone else because you get a better time. Shut the fuck up. Seriously. You do not know why those people are skipping, like I said, they're skipping obstacles. They could be hurt. They could be injured. You ever think that maybe the heat has killed them so much that they can't do anything else, but they still want to prove that they can get through these miles? They still got to climb that mountain, then go back down it, then go back up it, then go back down it, then go back up. You understand there's more to this. Not to mention, going through those woods, all it takes is one ankle to twist, and you're fucked, okay? Not to mention, there's one part, I believe it was mile 6, it was just nothing but covered with smooth rocks. So you had to watch your step. And if you didn't, that was going downhill. So if you didn't watch your step, yeah. Slip and fall, hit your head, you're done. You have to understand there's more to this than just, I'm going to work out and I'm going to be gun-ho. No, you have to be smart about what's going on. And you have to be honest with yourself as well. And I've seen a lot of Spartans online, they try to get that, that machismo thing going. Look, people whoever's done Spartan racing, you've done, you climb this mountain, especially Palmerton, all right? After mile 1, machismo, pride, all that shit went out the window. It went out the window. Like I said, after mile 1, there was people who were quitting mid-mile, mile 1, because of how high you had to climb that mountain on top of the heat. I really feel as though the heat was a big factor in this race, because it killed a lot of people's energy. There was times where guys were friends and they were like, "Are we moving yet?" And people was like, "Nah." He's like, "All right, when we gonna move?" "In 10 minutes." Okay, because that's how long people were taking the rest. Some people would take 20 minutes. Some people were taking a half hour. That sun was out there to take names. It was taking victims. All right. And the dude was like, "Oh, we're not moving for 10 minutes. All right, y'all wake me up when y'all ready," and laid down and went to sleep. Because that's how overbearing the sun was. There was people on the course throwing up because, like I said, not even at obstacles. We're just talking about walking. They were throwing up, getting dizzy. Like I said, it was a really bad day on Sunday. It was punishing. It was. So if you got through it, like I said, you deserve this. You did. I don't care if you finished on one leg, because there's people there who only had one leg. They actually had the blade on their leg. You finished? Hey, by all means, my hat's off to you. There was people out there who were severely overweight. If you finished, my hat's off to you. There were so many people I saw out there with different ailments. My hat's off to you. I don't give a shit what these Spartans, these elite douchebags online have to say. If you finished that, I don't care if you didn't do any fucking obstacles. If you got through all those miles in that heat and didn't pass out, I'm giving you credit. That's how bad it was. That's how bad it was. Like I said, I don't think Spartan planned for that right. I don't think they did. Because people, you have to understand, even myself, okay? When I did the Beast in New Jersey, I only used about a quarter to half of my hydration pack. First mile in of this one, hydration pack was gone. That's how much the heat was taking away from you. Constant sweat, because you're sweating everything out. You need to stay hydrated. And then when I got to the hydration part, you know what I mean, they told me, hey, look, you can't use, you know what I mean, you can't get it, you can't have your hydration pack filled. I convinced the guy at mile 4 at a water station to try and fill my hydration pack. He only gave me half of it. And the thing is, once I adjusted and planned accordingly, I really didn't use that much of the hydration pack afterwards. Yeah, I think. It's still going on for the Super. So, then that was at mile 4. But that first mile took everything out of everybody. Like I said, people had extra hydration packs, which I didn't know. You know what I mean? I didn't know that was going to be a thing. But they were helping others who were in need. Others who were less fortunate, who were falling out. It was very dangerous out there. Like, I understand they give you this death waiver or whatever. Very dangerous. Extremely dangerous. So, as far as I'm concerned, people have to understand, I got to go back up there next week for the sprint. I think that'll be my trifecta. I think it'll be a little bit easier this time around because now my body's adjusted to it and I know what to expect. So, it should be easier. I should be able to do that with no problem. But, what you had to go through this weekend just to get to the finish line, it was just extremely tough. And from what I heard, this course was top 3, for what they were telling me, top 3 in the country. So I'm thinking to myself, they said the same thing about the Beast as well, in Jersey, that it was top 3, top 5 in the country. So I've done 2 top 3, top 5 in the countries already. And then you might as well say it's going to be 3 of them because I got to do the same exact course over again. So this Spartan race was tough. I felt as though, and before I forget, the volunteers that were out there, I saw volunteers just sitting out there in the middle of the sun, asking people are okay, trying to encourage people. I want to thank them for that because you didn't have to be out there. You know what I mean? They volunteered to be out there just to help people, just in case, The obstacles, like I said, weren't tough. There were a couple new ones, which were mostly water-related. But here's the thing. The water-related obstacles that you had one with the water pump near mile 3. Then you didn't get another water-related obstacle until about mile 6. So heat's burning you the entire time. But the water, once you think you're going to get in the water, it's going to be refreshing, you'll be fine. Yeah, no. Water was warm, damn near hot. Because of the heat. You know what I mean? It's been so long with the heat. So, yeah, that didn't help any. Like I said, there's bugs all over you. As soon as you sit down, it doesn't matter. You've got flies on you and all kinds of stuff. Because you're sweating, it's sticking to you. Yeah. This one was tough. I saw a lot of people who were in shock. I didn't even know that I was in shock at one point. I had a lot of people around mile 5 asking me if I was okay because of the way I was walking. Because I was just like, I'm fine. I was walking almost like a zombie. I was like, I'm fine. I didn't realize till afterwards. I was like, oh, I had to think about it first. I was like, why do people keep asking me why I'm okay? I'm good. And then I think to myself, maybe I was just almost, I don't want to say an out of body experience. It was just like I was just not there. Like the lights weren't on upstairs. I was just automatic. It was just going. You know what I mean? Going and going and going. And I didn't think about it. So yeah, I up here wasn't home. Like you could look right there in my face and say something. I wasn't home. You know what I mean? But my body was moving. It just kept going. You know what I mean? So, and that was tough. So, like I said, this one was really tough. Mile 6, came across a pond. We could walk across a pond. Like I said, warm water. Walk across a pond. It was about 5 feet deep. That's about mile 6.5, almost like around there. Because after mile 6, you had 3 other obstacles actually, and then you hit the mile 7 mark. So, about mile 6.5, came across the pond. People were complaining in the pond. People were acting stupid in the pond. And what I mean by stupid is a guy was with his girlfriend. And she had his watch or whatever. It was like a waterproof watch. I guess he was timing himself or whatever. And he asked her, hey, give it to me. So what does she do? Instead of handing it to him, she throws it at him. And of course he misses. And he's like, and he turns to her and he's like, the fuck is wrong with you? He's like, why did you throw that? You know what I mean? And quickly he reminded her of the episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia where he's like, yeah, throw me the keys. And he throws the keys in the pool, and in the deep pool that doesn't have any water in it, and they have to go down and get them. That's pretty much what happened. And he said the same thing. He's like, why would you throw me keys in a pond where, because it goes out in the middle of nowhere, you know what I mean? If he doesn't retrieve that watch, it's gone forever. He missed it and dove to get it real quick, but it was just like, if he didn't do that, screwed. You know what I mean? And she was like, well, and her answer to that was, well, you look like you wanted me to throw them. Yeah, you know what? When you're seeing stuff like that, you just keep moving. You know what I mean? I was just looking like, and he looked at me like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you do, right? Like I said, this one was tough. Very tough. Extremely tough. Would I suggest anybody to do this course? No. Simply because the heat. If anything, after knowing how this is in summer, I would suggest that people don't do Spartan races unless it's in the spring or in the fall. Possibly even winter. It's going to be colder in the winter, of course. You know what I mean? Especially if you're going through that water. It's going to be freezing. But I would say spring or fall. I would not say the heat. I understand some of you are used to the heat, but you have to understand, when you were out there for hours and hours and hours, and you were doing that much of physical work, and Spartan, I think it's another thing. If Spartan probably would have compensated for the heat, it probably wouldn't have been as bad. But the fact that they didn't compensate for the heat, and had those people out there suffering, like I said, and you think, you signed up for this, you know what I mean? Oh, and let's get something straight here, all right? When people are all going up the mountain and they're taking breaks, guess what they're doing? Anybody? Anyone? Because it happened all day. They're stopping to play Pokemon Go. That's right. Trying to catch Pokemon on the mountain. Now, just to let you know, when I got to Palmerton, when I got there was really no reception. So I don't even know how they were catching Pokemon. I don't know. You know what I mean? It would suck to live out there, because it's pretty much, like when I was driving out there, I'm thinking to myself, if I scream bloody murder, nobody's going to hear me. It's a wasteland out there. There's nothing out there around it. I don't know. But I have to go back out there again next weekend. Should be easy, though. Like I said, now that I know what to expect, it should be easy. And then after this, I got the Stadium Series in September. But I'm not worried about Stadium Series. This one, very tough. So, for those who don't know how tough it actually really was, let's look, because I had my Fitbit at the time, let's look at the actual stats of my Fitbit, you know, when it comes to walking this at Palmerton. Or I shouldn't say walking, but hiking this at Palmerton. Now, I'm sure you're looking at the chart and you're saying, damn, it's a lot of miles. Do not worry much about the miles, as you should the floors. Now, first, let me say now that a Spartan mile, 1 mile, is not the same as a regular mile. Just letting you know that now. It's not, okay? Spartan mile is completely different. It's longer. Now, with that being said, understand that the floors that you see, 274 floors, let's put it like this. On Fitbit, if you walk up a flight of steps, all right, and we're not talking 5 steps. That's not a flight of steps. You walk up a flight of steps, that equals 1 floor. To go up a mountain and down and back up and down and back up, and some of these obstacles, actually you had to go down the mountain and come back up with, like the sandbag carry, double sandbag carry, down the mountain, up the mountain. Yeah, it goes to show you that these floors will add up. Now, I say this in comparison to, for those who have not done the New York Empire State Building run, which is you go all the way up to the Empire State Building, you know, that's 84 floors. So 274 floors should tell you something, okay? Yeah. Like I said, this race was punishing. It was. I would not suggest this. Actually, if I hated somebody, I would suggest it. But if not, then I would suggest it. You know what I mean? But let's talk about the future. All right? Actually, this is an update. That's right. Because, like I said, we're going to pass the Spartan stuff real quick. Now, remember last week I told y'all about how everything was happening here in the city. And how I thanked you guys for retweeting what I had said to the mayor. You know, our current mayor, our newest current mayor. Well, looks like the mayor got back to me. So you know what that means, right? Time to get to work. That's how I feel. Because let's be honest here. Look, I'll put it like this. We're already ahead of the curve due to the fact that, remember, the last mayor we had, it took me forever to get his attention unless I cursed him out. That's when I got his attention, all right? This is on the first tweet the mayor's getting back to me. Now, the link that he has sent me, okay, the mayor, about scheduling. This is a place, even though you have to fill out this form online and everything, they tell you ahead of time, all right? Just because you're filling out this form, it does not mean that you're going to meet with the mayor. That's what it says. They're just letting you know ahead of time, okay? So if you don't meet with the mayor, it's possible you meet with someone else. If not, you may just go ignored. I'll put it like this. If I can meet with anyone that can change this type of situation and listen to what I have to say and actually do something that's in authority, that's fine. That's fine with me. All right? Small steps at this point. As long as I can get the foot in the door and have them listen, that's fine. But that's what it comes to at this point. This is why things have to be changed. Like I said, there's a difference between going out and actually doing something as opposed to sitting on your ass and talking about pro sports all day. You know what I mean? There's a difference. And if people got mad at me about that last week, well, then guess what? Too bad. That's how I feel. Like I said, nothing's going to change unless you try. You can't sit on your ass and complain the whole fucking time unless you do it yourself. Especially something like this. No one's talking about that, though. Because everyone's too wrapped up in their fucking selves. I don't get it. Let's move on. I want to talk about the Philadelphia 76ers. That's right. For those who don't know, and I know Sixers fans, y'all going to be salty as fuck now, because I've been trying to tell y'all this for a long time, but y'all combat it with me time and time again. When I see y'all say this shit online, like on Twitter and stuff, and I'm like, you can't be this fucking stupid, right? Okay, let's talk about it. Bryan Colangelo admits the Sixers will likely trade Okafor, Noel, or Embiid, right? He also admits that they have too many centers. Now, this is what I want to talk about. Too many centers. Okay? Now, people, understand that how long ago did I tell you when they were doing all this drafting? All they do is keep taking big men, taking too many guys. And so many people was like, but they got some centers. They got size now. What else you expect them to take in the draft? You want them to take a point guard? You want them to do this? And what did I say? It's not going to help your situation if you keep taking all these centers. But okay, fine. You want to defend that? That's fine, because you were so-called defending the process, right? By the way, what happened with Hinkie? Oh, that's right. He quit on you. Yeah. But let's keep going, shall we? And I see people still trying to praise Hinkie. It's like, I don't know how you can praise him. The man quit on you. He wasn't fired. He quit. But, okay, we should praise quitters. Anyways, too many centers. And I put it like this. This is my problem with what I'm seeing. I understand that we got Ben Simmons, but you should know that he needs pieces around him in order to thrive. Now, as you know, Ben Simmons has taken a lot of flack as of late in the Summer League because Isaiah Thomas came out and jumped all over him, saying that he's not playing enough during Summer League. He's 19 years old. He should be out there in Summer League. He should be out there playing, getting his dollars up. Now, while I can understand Isaiah's point, that Isaiah also has to understand that Ben Simmons is trying to not get hurt out there. He's trying to play for the regular season. And we've already seen Ben Simmons take a break already once or twice because he was afraid of injury, okay? Now, with Ben Simmons, what I'm seeing is I'm not seeing the dominance that people thought he would have yet. Because you think, when Jahlil Okafor was playing in the Summer League, he was putting up a lot of points. I've seen Ben Simmons, you get around 20 or so, which is good, but then it's not consistent. The next game he'll drop down to 15. You know what I mean? Then it'll be 17. It's kind of hit or miss. You know what I mean with Ben Simmons? We don't know if he's just saving his best stuff for regular season. We don't know. But in Summer League, I would have thought he would be dominating by now. And I mean absolutely dominating. But we haven't seen that yet. All right, compared to other teams. So, yeah. I would like to see Sixers. Now that you got all these pieces, why don't you give them a season or 2 seasons to gel? Why aren't you letting them sit around and say, let's see what we can do with these guys? Because remember, we talked about this before. What did I say? You need pillars on your team in order to be a successful team. And then you need a vet bench. But you need pillars. That's what you need. And a lot of people was like, yeah, you need pillars. And then Monaco Williams was traded. And then y'all was like, nah, we don't need pillars. We don't need it. They know what they're doing. I've been arguing since last season. What did I say? Actually, not last season, last 3 seasons. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't. They don't know who to trade. They were going to trade the farm just to get, to get a point guard. Over the season. They were trying to trade those guys. Couldn't trade them. During the draft, they tried to trade these guys. Couldn't trade them. Now, here we go again, trying to trade them. Eventually, they're going to be traded. It's the inevitable. All right? This is what they want to do. They have to get rid of 1 out of 3 at least. I don't know who you're going to get rid of. Maybe Embiid because he hasn't played, but how do you get rid of him? How do you get rid of somebody who hasn't stepped on the court yet? I don't know, man. It's tough to see what's going on here. But there's more. That's right. Saric, that's right. Dario Saric, has decided he's going to sign with the Sixers. All right, he's come over. He's going to sign with the Sixers. And here's the problem I'm having with this, because a lot of people are happy he signed with the Sixers because he was like, well, I said 2 years ago I was going to fulfill my promise and sign with the Sixers and play for the Sixers. And I'm like, but you also promised who you were at, the team you were before, that you were going to finish out your 3-year contract. So if you're going to promise something, shouldn't you be sticking with the other team that you promised that you would stay until it's over? But you're promising the other team. See, this is why it's contradicting, okay? You can't say, I'm here because I promised the Sixers I'd be here. You promised them as well. He keeps trying to say he's a man of his word. Well, you promised both teams, and it seems like, I understand that there's a rock and a hard place here, but you're still not a man of your word. You get that, right? All right. Just saying. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Am I interested to see what the Sixers are going to do this year? Yeah, I am. All right? But please, don't trade these pieces yet. See what you got with them. See how they gel. See if they can have some type of chemistry this year before you decide, all right, let's just throw them all away. You tanked for 3 years to get these pieces. Now you're getting rid of them. And people still support this. At this, does it even matter next year? I mean, we already know what's happening. Who's going to be in the finals? We know Golden State and Cleveland are going to be in the finals. So does it matter? I mean, does it really? I mean, Cleveland just got who? They got was it Birdman? Didn't they? Did they form another Miami Heat over there? And then we saw all these people, all these players, these retired players talk about coming out of retirement so they can join Golden State. Like, come on. San Antonio may have a shot, but come on. This is going to be like this for a while. So you're just watching your team just to see if they're going to progress. Just to see if they'll get out of the red. Not because they can make the playoffs and make a run and make a push. No. That's already solidified on who's going to be there next year. Just saying. Like, look at it for what it is. Seriously. Look at it for what it is. But Sixers, please, give these young guys a chance. Give them a chance. But I want to move forward because, as you know, giving these guys a chance because the league, listen, it's going to be a joke next year, but it's been a joke for a while now, hasn't it? Griffin Force flop of the week. That's right. J.J. Redick. I need to know something. How do you try to flop on a jump shot acting like you're fouled when there's no one around you?
Redick inside the ring, puts up a wild one. Are they going to call a foul on that? Uh-oh. Boy, Bud was doing cartwheels on the sideline. J.J. Redick. Look, I know Staples Center is close to Hollywood, but come on.
Where's the foul?
He wasn't even in the same area code.
Not only is it a horrible flop and an embellishment to try and get a foul, but what the hell did the ref see that we didn't? How do you call that? I'm just wondering. There's no one around. How do you call that? All right, you know what? Yeah. Look at NBA. Anyways, let's move on to other things. Let's talk about football overseas. Now, I know I've been talking about Chelsea for a bit, and this whole Man U thing and how Chelsea's reloading. And once again, they're reloading. That's right. For those who don't know, N'Golo Kante signs a 5-year deal with Chelsea. Mind you, this guy played with Leicester City. Right? So, now we got him. Here's another one for you that there's talked about so far. Riyad Mahrez may be joining Chelsea. That's right, he may be as well. Also from Leicester City. So, we will see what happens with that. It goes to show you that they are not wasting any time to stack up their roster. That's what they're doing right now. And of course, we still have the youth that's coming up as well. So, I'm telling you, this season coming up, it's going to be tough. It is. And like I said, if those players listen to that coach, and with this type of talent, man, this is not going to be one of those things again where Chelsea's down in 10th or 16th. I'm not trying to hear that. All right, they're going to be a fighting team this year, and the coach has already made it known. All right, if any of these star players, if you do not perform, and he said, and I quote, "You are asking for trouble." He's straightening up the ship. So, I'm okay with this so far. We'll see where this goes, but I'm okay with this. Let's move on to boxing news. All right? Pacquiao's next opponent will either be Crawford, Vargas, or Postol. Now, I'm going to talk about this because Crawford fights Postol not too long soon, so we'll see what happens. Personally, I think that Pacquiao should fight Crawford. He should. As much as I wanted to see, because there was talk about Pacquiao fighting Broner, I would have loved to have seen that. I would have loved to have seen, because I think Pacquiao would have destroyed Broner, but it would have been hilarious to watch happen. You know what I mean? But Pacquiao, I feel as though if he's going to fight anyone, he should fight Terrence Crawford. You know what I mean? That should solidify. I think if Crawford wins this time, that's it. That solidifies it. Just sign the contract right then and there, as far as I'm concerned. Now, let's move on. For those who did not see boxing over the weekend, Deontay Wilder fought Chris Arreola and stopped Chris Arreola because, I even said on Twitter, I was like, they need to stop this fight. Arreola could not see his eyes were so swollen, he couldn't see the punches coming. He couldn't see punches coming. And mostly it was jab. Why? Because Deontay Wilder broke his hand and tore a muscle in his arm while fighting Chris Arreola. And you didn't even realize it. You didn't, because he showed no signs of it. He was still throwing the right every once in a while. He said broken hand, but it didn't matter. He was still fighting. And that's when you wonder why you saw so many jabs, so many hooks and everything. Yeah, or so many uppercuts. He wasn't throwing the straights as he usually does that much, but no one guessed it because he didn't show it. He had a poker face the entire time. Deontay Wilder says he wants the big time fights. I say give him Anthony Joshua. Seriously, when Wilder heals, because it's going to take a while for him to heal after that broken hand and torn muscle, give him Anthony Joshua. I think those two that matchup will be really well. Everyone wants to see him fight Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury isn't as physical as a Deontay Wilder. I don't think he is, or an Anthony Joshua. I don't think Tyson Fury can hang with those guys. I really don't think he can. He can be savvy, but I don't think he can hang with them. It's that simple. And besides, he's got to get ready to fight Klitschko, doesn't he? But I believe that someone got hurt in the process, so it's been delayed a bit. So, as far as I'm concerned, I wouldn't even worry about Tyson Fury right now. Let him have his rematch with Klitschko, and these two battle it out to see who fights the champ. As far as I'm concerned, if Fury loses to Klitschko, well, then there's no point of fighting Tyson Fury anymore. There's no point. It's that simple. But we'll see. If Tyson Fury retains, then you go after the champion. If not, then you know who to go after. It's that simple. Anyways, that was boxing news. Let's move on to UFC. Or should I say MMA in general. Alright? Brock Lesnar has been notified of anti-doping violation. Now, we talked about this last week, how Mark Hunt didn't want to fight Brock Lesnar on such short notice because he was worried about doping. He was worried about it. He brought it up many a times during their press conferences and interviews. He was like, dude, this guy's on something. And Brock Lesnar's like, I'm not on anything, blah, blah, blah. Well, here's the thing. All right, since this has happened, Mark Hunt has called for Brock Lesnar's share of the money. Now, first, he only wanted half. Now, he wants all of it. And he says if he doesn't get all of it, he's going to walk. He wants his release papers from UFC. That's what he's saying. He wants all of it because now he's saying that cheaters don't deserve a damn thing. That's right. We're still trying to figure out what's going on with John Jones. We're still trying to. We still don't know about the appeal. We don't know what's happening yet. So I don't have any news on that for you. But with Brock Lesnar, now you have to ask yourself, okay, now that Brock Lesnar has been apparently doping, and I'll have more news for this in a minute, how does this jeopardize his career, not only in UFC, and it depends how big a draw you are in UFC, because let's be honest, there's been guys who have been kicked out of UFC just for smoking weed, as opposed to people like John Jones, who does crack, hit and runs, doping, and still gets a chance at the UFC. It depends on what stature, what level you are as a fighter in the UFC. Let's be honest here. But what about his career with WWE? That's another thing. We're seeing how they're tightening up on the anti-doping policies. So I think that Brock Lesnar at this point is stuck between, again, with others, a rock and a hard place when it comes to this anti-doping. However, in defense of Brock Lesnar, and this is the only bit of news I have, okay? Brock Lesnar passes multiple other USADA drug testing before UFC 200. He tested 8 times and 5 in the first 2 weeks. That's right. So he tested 8 times before UFC 200, and 5 of those tests were before 2 weeks. That's the only defense I have of Brock. It's the only defense I can find out. I mean, seriously, is it one of those things where he passed all those times, and then he thought, okay, we're getting closer to fight time, I guess we should try some doping? Or are they just absolutely wrong on this one? And because Brock has been tested so many times, we shouldn't question whether he's been doping. Because he's been tested 8 fucking times. You know what I mean? And like I said, I don't even know if that's a defense. That's just facts right there for you. I'll put the links in the info bar so you can see it yourself. You know what I mean? But I don't understand how people are getting on Brock for this. And I'm just thinking to myself, UFC 200, you know, John Jones, we knew that John Jones, he was kicked off the card for doping, but you bring in Anderson Silva, who was caught before for doping. You know what I mean? So it's like, what do you do there? You know? As far as I'm concerned, this is troubling because Mark Hunt, he says that it seems like the UFC isn't trying to clean up the sport. You know, they talk about it, but no one's really getting thrown out. They get thrown off the cards, they come back. It's not really cleaning up the sport. Or so he says. Like I said, everything will be in the info bar. Also, I want to talk about Bellator. For what we saw not too long ago. For those who don't know, the guy MVP hit his opponent. Oh my God. Cyborg, he hits the guy. Devastating knee. Devastating knee. Alright? And then afterwards, while the guy's on the ground, he's laying on the ground, he runs, puts a Pokemon hat on, takes a Pokeball and rolls it at him and acts like, I got him. I got him as a Pokemon. Now, here's the disrespectful part of it. I can understand if, you know, you got the knockout and everything, but the medics are still over there checking on the man. And we were finding out that this man has a fractured skull from the knee, okay? A fractured skull. And you take the opportunity to put a hat on, take a Pokemon and throw it, take a Pokeball and throw it at him. That's right, that's what you did. You rolled it across the ring and it hit him. That's what you did. That's a celebration. I understand being a showman, but when a guy is on the ground and the medic staff is still trying to treat them, we're not talking about instant knockout and then you all of a sudden do something. No. The medical staff is huddled around him and you're pulling these stunts. It's bullshit. It's lack of character. It's lack of respect for your fellow competitors. It is. I understand that everyone wants to be showman. I get it. We've seen it. Okay? We've seen it knock the guy. And I also believe you should be able to celebrate if you win. You trained so hard for that win, you should be able to celebrate. But when a guy is on the ground and he has a fractured fucking skull, and like I said, medical staff is around him. Medical staff's around him. It's not like he's laying there by himself. You know what I mean? Medical staff is around trying to treat him, and you're rolling Pokeballs at people. That's wrong. It's tasteless. It's classless. It is. However, other than that, Bellator was really good. I didn't expect Paul Daly to lose, but he lost. Yeah, he lost. It was a great fight, too. I mean, that's the first time I've seen Paul Daly really rock to the point where he was like, oh my God, what just happened? Let me hold on. You know what I mean? Let me hold on. Let me shoot. You got to think, since he's been in Bellator, he's won, what, 8 in the last 9 fights or something like that. He even went over to kickboxing at one point, and he dominated that at one point. So Paul Daly is legit. He's legit. And to see him get beaten, granted, he lost to a former champion, all right? But still, to see the way that fight went down, they were throwing too. There was no BS, you know what I mean? No hugging and constant takedowns. No. It was just banging with each other. It was great to watch. So if you haven't seen that, please watch that. But Bellator was okay. We'll see what happens next week with Bellator. On top of, we'll see what happens next week with boxing. There's so much boxing coming along now. You know what I mean? It's almost hard to ignore it. It really is. So that's how I feel. Seriously, seeing that, rolling that Pokeball, well, I can see why people will find it funny. The guy's got a fractured skull, he's on the ground. And yeah, MVP, at the time, he doesn't know that his opponent has a fractured skull. But when the medical staff is huddled around him, you don't take the opportunity to do that. Not with a medical staff huddled around him. You don't. All right? Like I said, I can understand if there was no one around him, and he was just out for a minute, and, you know, the ref stopped it or whatever. Then it's like, okay, fine, I can do whatever. But when they're coming, you know, over, and they're huddled over him, you don't do something like that. Anyways, I'll talk to y'all later. I'll see y'all next week. Until then, y'all be safe. I'm out.